here we go. This is section, oh, so we are finally changing units. We've been on unit 1 this whole time. Now we're on unit 2. Evaluating functions. That means we're off linear. Although a function can be linear. Huh?
Are we still reviewing?
Yeah. So you should be familiar with this notation. This is functional notation. This is functional notation. That means f is not a variable. F is not a variable. F is not a variable. Hopefully it's traumatic enough you'll just remember that. F is not a variable. X is the variable. X is the input. F is the name of the function. Okay? So this is not f times x. This is the function f with the input being x. Really, the input is whatever is inside the parentheses. Okay? So to say the input is x is actually not quite correct. Okay? So I can have like f of cow. So the input is cow. So you'd have 2 cows. Okay? Don't give me that look. Alright, so what I'm trying to point out is that the input can be more complicated than just x. Okay? So I could have f of x squared. So that means I'm going to replace x with x squared. So that will be 2x squared. Okay? So you're given the function, and whatever is put in the parentheses replaces, so x represents all the inputs over here. So whatever is put in the parentheses puts into the place where x is. Okay? So, but we're going to start with easy stuff. Okay? But this on the right-hand side is the rule of the function. So does that mean I have to memorize this function? No. The function is going to change from problem to problem, day to day, page to page. So example here, this is f of x equals 2x. And then right down here, f of x comes something else. Okay? So f is a name of functions, just like x is the typical variable, f is a typical name. All right. So let's do some examples. So here we have f of 3. And our function is this one here, 5x minus 1. So all you're going to do is replace the x with 3. So this is going to be 5, replace the x with 3, minus 1. Then you just work out the math. 15 minus 1 equals 14. So the final answer is 14. So this is the expression we're looking for. F of 3 equals 14.
Do we have to show our work like that?
No. That one is a mental math problem. So if you just wrote 14, I'm okay with that. All right, so what's the answer to the next one then?
Negative 21.
Thank you. Yes, that's correct. All right, so B, I'm doing B. The reason why I laughed, because I did it wrong. I did it wrong in my head. Then I was like, oh, no, you're right and I'm wrong. All right. So let's plug in the negative 4. So it's 5 times negative 4 minus 1. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. Minus 1 is negative 21. I'm just showing work for the benefit of those people who can't do it in their head, which is fine. You can use a calculator. You're welcome to use a calculator. All right. Okay, what's the answer to G? I'm sorry, C. What's the answer to C? Lincoln. What's C?
C is 32. Right?
Is it?
I think so.
Nah, I'm not getting that. All right, let's look at C. But, you know, I got it wrong last time, so. All right, let's plug it in. So it's negative 2, negative 3 to the second power minus a negative 3. So you're replacing every instance of x with negative 3. Okay, you're replacing every instance of x with negative 3. So you copy the negative 2, you copy the minus sign. You don't say, oh, x is already negative, so I don't need to copy that. No, you still need to copy that minus sign. Now, and you have to do exponentiation first. So the negative 3 to the second power, you have to work that out first. So that's going to be negative 2 times 9. And then minus a negative 3, that's plus 3. So I'm getting negative 18 plus 3 is negative 15. That's the answer.
Well, it wasn't be negative 9.
Because when you, okay, so negative 3 squared is equal to negative 3 times negative 3. What happens when you multiply two negatives? You get a positive. That's why it's positive 9. All right? You guys okay with that now? All right. Ready for D? We're moving on to D. D. All right. So we're going back to the function f. So the function f that was given up here, so it's 5x minus 1. So it's going to be 5 parentheses. I am replacing x with 4/5. So I'm replacing x with 4/5. So whenever I replace x, I tend to use parentheses. Right? Helps keep things straight by using parentheses. And 5 times 4/5 is 4. So it's 4 minus 1, which is 3. Yes? E. Ready for E? Alright, we're doing G of 0. G of 0. So we're replacing, well here, so it's negative 2. We're replacing the x with 0. We're replacing the x with 0. So 0 squared minus 0. Every instance of x. So what's 0 to the second power? 0. So it's negative 2 times 0. What's negative 2 times 0? 0. What's 0 minus 0? Here. So this one, if you said, can we just go to 0? Yeah. Right. If all the variables are 0 and there is no other constants, that's just going to be 0. Right? Are you, sorry. So this one, if you didn't show any work for it, that's okay, because that one is a mental math problem. Are you ready for F? Are you ahead of me? If you're ahead of me, that's fine. Make sure you check your answers with mine. So G of 5 is negative 2 times 5 to the second power minus 5. So what's the first step there? What do I do first? The exponent. So what do I got?
25.
25. So it's negative 2 times 25. Now what's next? Yeah, do that multiplication. So it's negative 50 minus 5. Finally, subtraction. You get negative 55. Yes, sir.
Do we have to show work for that one?
A lot of these substitution problems, I don't think work is particularly necessary. The bad news is, if you do it wrong and you've shown no work, you get no partial credit. Right? So let's say you put positive 55 with no work, you've lost the whole problem, instead of losing a point just for the negative sign. Did I answer your question? Okay, ready for the next part. So f of negative 4, but this time, so up here, you were given a function rule, right? A rule as a algebraic expression. So you had g of x as an algebraic expression. This time you're given the function as a graph. You're given the function as a graph. And when you're asked, what is f of negative 4? F of negative 4. Remember, this is the x value. So we're saying x is negative 4. So go over here. Where is x equal to negative 4? Well, remember, the horizontal axis is the x-axis. In fact, they write it right here. That's the x-axis. So you find x equals negative 4 here. Now, the graph is the function. So you go find the y value associated with the graph at x equals negative 4. And that will be y equals negative 2. So the answer to A is negative 2. So that's all that I'm asking you to do here. Let's look at B. What is f of negative 2? So we look for negative 2. So this one is actually one of the harder questions because look, there's a graph here and a graph down here. However, one of them has a filled circle and one of them has an open circle. Open circles don't count. So you got to go to the filled circle. So the answer is, what's the y value here?
0.
Right? So the y value is 0 here. So that is 0. So C is f of 1. So now here we're looking at x equals 1. So here we have the same situation again. We have an open circle and we've got a filled circle. So what is the y value associated with x equals 1 then? 4. You want the filled circle, so 4. Alright, moving on to D. Looking at x equals 5. Alright, somebody tell me what the answer is there? Negative 4. So x equals 5 is here, and I'm going down to meet the graph, and the graph comes down to negative 4. Alright, and then the E, we're looking at x equals negative 6. So back to the graph, we're looking at x equals negative 6. It's way over here. So the graph's missing, but what does this arrow mean? It keeps going. Do you think the y value changes if it keeps going?
No.
No. So then what's the y value at x equals negative 6? Negative 2. So that's the answer to E. Negative 2. And the last example for today, we're looking at x equals 7. X equals 7 is way over here. And then look, there's really, that's not quite as easy. What is the slope of this line? Can you tell? Negative 2, right? So, or if you just realize there's a pattern here, down 2 over 1, just keep going following the pattern. Down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. So what's that? Somebody said the answer? Negative 8. So the y value down here at x equals 7 is negative 8. All right. So example f of 7 equals negative 8. Are there any questions? All right. So tonight's assignment is related to the front page. Okay. The back page we will be doing tomorrow. All right. Stopping the video.